Two guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackie and Judd on SKOR North and SKORNorth.com.
Write this down. Write it down. You like writing things down.
Write that down.
Okay, time for the OG edition of Write That Down here. Minnesota Sports with Mackie and Judd. If you haven't already, click that like button and the subscribe button on the SKOR North YouTube channel if that's where you are consuming this. If you are on Apple or Spotify, you can help us with really any of our podcasts, in this case, Minnesota Sports with Mackie and Judd, by giving us a 5-star rating and a positive review. Or hell, if you hate us, you can give us a 1-star rating and leave a negative review about how much you hate the sports dad. And
I can't stand. No, my feelings will be hurt. My ego.
And then also go on to Twitter or X and then tag us with a negative comment there too. Hashtag I hate sports dad. Before we get to our accountability session and the predictions here, Dex, we've got the Twins firing up tomorrow. You're going to be at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Yeah. We're going to be doing at least probably 2 different Twins shows with you at the ballpark tomorrow. And you can get Twins tickets for when they come back home next week.
That's right. Yeah. April 3rd, home opener against the Houston Astros. Twins.com/tickets. The first 10,000 fans do score a City Connect beanie presented by your local Northland 4 dealers, plus the all-new My Twins membership is here. You can unlock incredible benefits, ticket flexibility, year-round Twins access like never before. Go to twins.com to secure those tickets.
All right, boys. Here's how this works. Going back 10 years.
Write this down.
These Write That Down predictions. The old spreadsheet of glory. The old Excel spreadsheet that they ask every time we open it. Would you like to reformat this dinosaur spreadsheet? Like, I don't know. Maybe we don't want to. I guess we could like make a copy of it or two and try to reformat it. But we've got the spreadsheet of 10 years of predictions. So it's 3 predictions from everybody each week. They must be quantifiable. We keep track of batting averages and home runs. And listeners, you can participate like Craig is about to by sending Declan a message through the SKOR North app, and we'll get you scheduled. So we got a pretty juicy accountability session here. A lot of red. A lot of red here for Judd.
Oh, it's dragging me down.
Is bad here. So we'll go through it. You said North Carolina would make the Final Four after winning their first 4 game.
Yep. And they almost came back and won their first round game. But I was a little aggressive.
Yeah. And then they would have only needed to win 3 more games.
Well, it's not happening now.
You said by opening day, Eddie Julian would be traded by the Twins.
No faith.
Well, wait. We still got time left.
We'll revisit if he gets traded this afternoon or 5 minutes before first pitch tomorrow.
Okay, all right.
You said news of the Twins being – so I'm going to distinctly differentiate these next to you. You said news of the Twins being sold will be in place by opening day. And then the sale of the Twins would be announced by opening day.
I get burned.
I don't know if you recalled making those predictions in like the same month.
Yeah. I think you forgot.
No, I totally forgot.
Yep.
But you did word them slightly differently, so they're going to be counted each as incorrect.
Okay.
You said the Twins' 2025 opening day payroll would be lower than last year's payroll.
No faith.
Joe Polad.
I've only been praising this organization and all their spending habits. I don't know.
This is why Joe Polad is going to run this franchise in perpetuity, no matter what happens.
That's right. And then you said Willie Castro would sign a contract extension before the 2025 season. I guess they could announce something here, but it doesn't seem likely.
I don't like this anymore. I hate this game.
I also had a couple red predictions here. I said that these 3 double-digit seeds would all win their first-round matchups. New Mexico, yes. Colorado State, yes. And VCU let me down. Damn VCU.
Brutal.
I said both Patinos would make it to the Sweet 16 round of the men's tournament. Both of them lost in the round of 32. How about old Richie Patino last night scooping up that Xavier job?
Yeah.
That's a nice. So he gets fired by the Gophers, which turned out to be probably a wrong decision. He rejuvenates the New Mexico program, and then he parlays it. I think Xavier, you could say probably a top 20 college basketball program. Yeah. Like they're pretty regularly, like they get into the tournament almost every year. It's a Big East school. So now he's going to, because St. John's Big East, so the Patinos are going to play each other at least once a year now in conference.
Being fired by the Gophers blessing in disguise.
I mean, it turned out to be New Mexico was the springboard because he's always wanted one of the top 15, 20 jobs. I think he's always wanted to go back out east. There was like North Carolina State rumors.
Yep, but blessing.
So this is going to wind up good for him, by the way. Good for him.
Oh yeah,
and he put out the early in the morning because he kind of left in the night, and that's the way these things pop up because Sean Miller left Xavier to take the Texas job, and so he jumped in. Patino's like, "Oh, that job's open," and he put out the tweet that, "Hey, Lobos fans, we did this thing together." And I went into the replies thinking, "Oh, they're all going to be dunking on him." No, they're like, the Lobos fans are very happy with. Thank you so much for the 4 years. You got our program to a new level. We wish you the best. So good for Richard Pitino. Mm-hmm. All right, listeners, Riley said these 5 players will not be on the Twins roster this year. Max Kepler, Caleb Thielbar, yep. But then he said Chris Paddock, Willie Castro, and Jose Miranda would also not be. Those guys are all ready to rock and roll. And then Sam said the Twins will not be sold by opening day. The Pohlads would remain in control.
Said twice.
Okay, Dax, buckle up here, buddy.
Good God.
Oh, my God. I thought I was bad. I thought I had a bad week.
There is some good news at the end of this bloodbath, but strap in. You said there'd be exactly 2 double-digit seeds in the Sweet 16 in the men's tournament. And I kind of thought, because it's an exact prediction that you might get burned if 4 of them make it. Yeah. Only 1 double-digit seed. Yeah. A 10 seed coached by John Calipari is the only double-digit seed.
Cinderella, dead. It's dead now.
It's crazy. Yeah, because, everyone's... Could you leave? It's been a talker to death the last 48 hours in the national media. But yeah, any good... Did you see yesterday? 1,000 players entered the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. If you math that out, that's 20 to 25% of all players in Division I hit the transfer portal yesterday.
Yep.
And the transfer portal opens up during the NCAA tournament. It's just ridiculous.
Yep.
Tom Izzo went on a 5-minute rant about this. A reporter asked him a very fair question of hey, what's it like?
He called it the urinal, the transfer urinal.
Yeah.
It was great.
And he said 5 different times, I can't believe you asked me that question. I'm not mad at you, but I'm kind of mad at you for asking me that question as we're preparing for 3 opponents. Deck said at least 3 teams seeded 12 or worse will win their first round matchup in March Madness. And I think we only had it was 1 or 2 12 seeds.
I want you to
nobody higher than that.
At Declan right now. I just want you all to look at Declan right now. Just a look of disgust and disdain.
I usually, my write that down strategy is to not push predictions too far in advance, to not have a situation like this happen. That's why my strategy is short game predictions. I kind of forgot I made some of these predictions.
So now here
I am.
Now you forgot, huh?
Now I forget.
Making fun of the old guy on the show.
If we wanted to make Dex even more uncomfortable than he is right now, we would just create some silence.
Okay, so anyway, my wife...
I'm not... Dex, we're not mad. We're disappointed.
My wife did send in 3 predictions that will happen at the airport with me, by the way.
Oh, can we put these on the record?
I think you could. Then you'd have to check. I'll count for them. But yes, there are 3 airport-related things that I will do between now and the next couple hours.
And so you know what these predictions are.
I do know what they are.
Is she so confident that she can tell you what you may do and you may still... trip over the wire?
Oh yeah, no. She sent me the predictions that I'll do, word for word, verbatim, what I'd do.
Okay, we're gonna have once we're done with the accountability session, we're gonna have you read these.
Okay,
got it. Curious what these are. You said Jaden McDaniels will have another 20-10 game by this week's. Write that down. He's now reverted, but he had no rebounds in one. It was 6-7 points, no rebounds, and then it was 6 points, 1 rebound. So the Wolves have just reverted back in the last week to Jaden McDaniels is standing around doing nothing. It's great. Brooks Lee will make the Twins opening day roster. Eddie Julian will not. There'd be a credible report of Carlos Correa being open to a trade between the winter and opening day. The Twins would be connected or have reported interest in Alex Verdugo. He finally signed for $1 million or something with the Braves, I want to say. The Twins would add a former Major League player to their coaching staff who appeared in at least 500 games. I don't know if they have really any Major League experience. Like Hank Conger played some Major League games. Mostly guys who did not play in the big
He's
leagues.
been on the staff for a while now, too. So.
Yep. Willie Castro would be traded this offseason.
But
you did nail this one.
But
you said the Twins will have some type of an agreement with an over-the-air channel to broadcast games in 2025, like a Fox 9 Plus, for instance. It's being reported by Doogie and others that this is in place. I don't know that it's been officially announced it sounds like Fox 9 Plus. So you've got it. Yet. So with that here, we're a month into the 2025 season. I'm batting 364 with 2 homers. I'm off to a good start.
Good for you.
Good for you.
Judd's at 118 to start the season. And Listeners at 100. Declan at 087.
It's the dead ball era. I'll write that down.
I just have to coast now for the next 11 months.
You do that.
Didn't Aaron Hicks, when he got debuted with the Twins, start 1 for 50 or something? Like he got off to a horrendous start in his major league debut. This is what
switch hitting.
It was bad.
He arbitrarily just came in one and said, I'm going to hit right. Who was the pitcher?
Darvish.
He said, I'm going to hit right-handed. And Gardy started him against Darvish, and it was a disaster.
Literally, I'm going to hit right-handed against a right-handed pitcher for the first time in my life since childhood.
Yep.
And the Twins are like, okay, if that's what you want to do. Darvish is the first right-hander you're going to face, like-handed pitcher. Okay, sounds good. Okay. So anyways, Declan career average at 341. He's still 22 points ahead of Judd at 319. I'm at 280. Listeners 264. Judd has the all-time hits lead with 355. Listeners have the all-time home runs lead with 70. So there you have it, boys. There's your accountability session here. All right, let's get listener Craig in here making his debut. A first-timer on Write That Down. And this is a chance. Because you've got the UMD Bulldogs hat on here. You're a Duluth guy. This is a chance for Declan to trash his least favorite Minnesota city in front of Craig, who loves Duluth. Go ahead.
Don't be trashing Duluth now. Actually, born and raised in northern Minnesota. Grew up in a little small town y'all may have heard of, SKOR.
Okay.
I believe there's a certain Gopher that graduated from that school as well.
Yep.
Like Judd said last week, I wish I had gotten into sports a little bit younger. I may have been able to enjoy watching the Vikings in their last Super Bowl while I was getting my diaper changed, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But I was old enough to see 2-Minute Tommy play. He was my favorite Viking player growing up. Got to see the 87 and 91 Twins win World Series, which I'm sorry, as a former pitcher, the 91 series was my favorite. Game 7 was probably one of the best baseball games ever played.
Yeah.
A low batting average guy comes on and hits a ball out to the outfield and knocks in Dan Glad for the game-winning 1-0. I mean, it doesn't get any better. And Jack Morris just pitched a miraculous World Series. So, but my wife and I moved over to Wisconsin. We've lived in Cheddarville for the last 25 years. We're breeding Minnesota sports fans over here in Wisconsin. So
we're just breeding them. Yeah.
Actually, Phil, we live just outside of La Crosse down in Trumbull. I think you've got family down in this area. Is that right?
Yep. Like La Crosse and then extended all through some of the smaller little townships around the area. So, yeah.
Okay.
Love Lex.
Yep. It's La Crosse, by the way. Fun little underrated little city.
Lacrosse.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful area down here on the Mississippi. And I tell my kids we can walk to the end of the driveway and look south and we can see normalcy, which is Minnesota. So all is well in the world.
Yep. Love it, man. By the way, one of the favorites, this is way back in the day here when Judd and I first started doing radio shows together. One of our favorite interviews, we went to Gene Larkin's hitting facility in Eden Prairie or somewhere. We just sat down for a Sports Over Beers podcast with him. And he told all these great stories about his career, but specifically we asked him, what was it like with the Metrodome rocking? It's the bottom of the 10th inning of Game 7 of the World Series. Can you just kind of take us back there? And he said, I was shaking in the on-deck circle walking up to home plate. And he had like a brief interaction with the umpire, and he realized in his mind, I have to swing at one of the first 2 pitches because I don't think my nerves are so high. I don't think I can get through a full at bat. So he's like, I need whatever happens, I need to get it over with in the first pitch or 2, and just kind of cross my fingers. And the rest is
it was absolutely amazing. I mean, that dome was rocking. We were shaking, sitting watching the game in our living room as a family.
Yeah.
But then when you hear the crack of that bat and that ball drops in the outfield, it was like Dan Gladden with all his speed. All he had to do was jog home.
Yeah, it is incredible though that for a building that was essentially a dump, how many great games in a variety of sports were played in that place. It really is. Like its run was because the place, they bragged about the fact back in the day that they built it on the cheap. So they're like, it's under budget. This is great. It's like, no, it's not great.
That's what you don't want to hear.
Exactly. But when you go back and look at just the history of games like that game, 87, a Super Bowl played there, Final Fours played there. It is remarkable the amount of like seismic events held in that stadium.
Yeah.
And kids nowadays will never have the experience of walking out of the dome and getting blown through the door.
It's great. It was always about the twin. It was like 1995, and the Twins got beat 12-1 again. But you know what? We get to walk out the windy doors, Dad. It's gonna be great. So, all right, Craig, we're gonna start with you, and then we'll go to Judd, Declan, back to me. We'll make 3 predictions, 3 laps around the room. Here we go.
Write this down.
So again, I have my list. This was compiled by my son Luke and I. So prediction number 1, write that down. I'm going to go back to my old hometown. Coy Parrish will lead the Gophers in forced turnovers this upcoming season with at least 5. And as a parlay, will log at least 5 offensive snaps.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. They kind of tossed him in toward the end of the year doing some stuff, right? They tried a trick play in a key spot with him against, was it Penn
running back,
State?
right?
Yeah.
I think he was a running back. I think he's going to be a receiver now.
He's gifted with the ball in his hands.
Is he a first-round pick?
Yes. He's tracking to be a first-round pick.
Oh, yeah. Our hope is that Harrison Smith keeps playing until Coy is ready to enter the draft.
Because they might be the same guy, too, like in some ways.
100%.
And, man, there was some steam that, like, a few years ago that they might have drafted Antoine Winfield Jr. God, could you imagine that?
That was a miss.
Well, it would have been Harrison Smith and Antoine Winfield playing together for a few years, and then the handoff. Oh, my God.
How do you watch that kid play in college and not go get him? Like there was nothing he did. Like he was a reason to watch them. His instincts for the ball. I don't care if he was small. He was a fantastic player. So that drove me crazy. But yes, Coy Parrish, I think first round pick. And I don't think I think he actually might be a teens guy.
Oh,
I could see him going in. Like he's tracking really, really well.
I mean, this is all on the record here, so I mean, you're welcome to make that prediction.
That's a long way out, and as you guys know, I don't like to push predictions out.
Oh
too
yeah,
far.
yeah, exactly. Let's go back to the database and see.
Okay. I'm just kidding. Write this down. Matty Wallner will hit 20 or more home runs for the Twins this season.
20 or more? Okay. I mean, he's 13's like his 15 or whatever.
Yeah, I looked it up. Yeah, 20 is good.
That's just kind of right.
Kyle Schwarber, 2.0. Matt Wallner.
If he's Kyle Schwarber 2.0, I'm going to need more than 20 home runs.
Yeah, you're going to need 40.
I'm just saying for this year. I'm starting it modest. We'll build it up.
Okay.
Old dinosaur bones himself. Okay, I'll make a Matt Wallner prediction too. Write this down. I'll be at Busch tomorrow, and Matt Wallner will send one into the seats. Matt Wallner hits a home run on opening day. Write it down.
Say it to lead off the game. Have some gall behind that prediction.
He'll homer. He'll homer.
Do we have a
He'll hit
lineup yet?
Not yet, but I think it's pretty safe to assume what they've been trotting out is probably what they'll have. Yeah, I think it more comes down to, does Larnach DH or does Bader play left field? I think that's also a thing. Eddie Julian might DH too at this point.
Wasn't Bader drafted by the Cardinals? This kind of could be like a revenge game for him, right?
He came up with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Write this down.
All right. You know what? I'll make a Matty Wallner prediction too.
Look at this.
Wow.
I'm unimpressed with the 20 home run predictions. I'm going to put my money where my write that down mouth is.
Okay.
30. Matty Wallner hits 30 or more home runs in 2025.
All right.
Now he's going to have to hit some off lefties to make this happen.
Right.
I don't know that you're going to hit 30 as a strict platoon player.
And I will say this, I'm getting a little bit concerned. We're anointing him now. Like it feels like it's just like he's going to be great for sure. And I'm a little skeptical still.
We know he's great. I don't know, maybe it's too early to say this, but I think it's established that he's going to mash right-handed pitching.
Yeah.
So for this, can you give me 5 home runs against lefties? He'll get the 25 if he plays the whole season. Give me 25 against righties, 5 against lefties.
The only thing I'll say is it's baseball, and he mentally has at times gone into deep funks. So we're assuming he's done with a deep funk.
We all get a little sad sometimes.
I think it was Rocco told Buster Olney that when Wallner is one of the 5 best hitters in baseball when he's on.
Yeah.
There was like a crazy hyper, which Rocco does not throw.
The numbers,
Yeah.
I get, platoon, I get it. Like the numbers do bear that out.
Deep funk.
Small sample size.
Stay out of the deep funk.
Craig, your second prediction.
We're going to go with our favorite team here, the Vikings, and this upcoming NFL season. My kids are big J.J. McCarthy fans. And I am too, since he wears the number 9, which a former great NFL quarterback wore that 9 for the Vikes. J.J. McCarthy, this upcoming NFL season, will have more passing yards and passing touchdowns than any of the 2024 rookie quarterbacks during this past rookie season.
Is Bo Nix, or who had the most? I think it was Bo Nix, right?
Bo Nix had almost 3,800 passing yards, and he had 29 passing touchdowns.
Okay. So it essentially be a 4,000-yard, 30 touchdown season for as
If
Patrick
Sam
Royce
Darnold
would
can
say.
do it,
Woo.
if Sam Darnold can do it, I think JJ can do it.
Okay.
Amen.
Write this down.
I'm with you.
Love the aggressiveness. All right, Judd.
All right, write this down with the news of the change in basketball coaches for the Gophers. Nico Medved will have 2 or more players from the Colorado State team, the current team, on his roster for 25-26. He will steal at least 2.
That point guard that Doogie brought up yesterday, he was like analytically, he was their second best player. Yeah. He can score, he can shoot,
you got to
get
organize. Anyone you want. If you coached them, you say you're coming with me. We're going to pay you. It's going to be great. I don't care.
We think we're going to pay you. We're not totally sure. We're trying to figure that out.
If I owe you, I got done with that press conference. If I'm him and I got on an airplane and I am going to every place I can, any like slightly smaller school, and I'm throwing them money. I'm throwing them whatever they want. I'm building up an all-star team as quickly as possible.
I'm loving the last 2 days. You keep talking about throwing money at players. Like they need to get.
I'm making it rain.
They need to
Mark
get
Coyle.
money first.
Mark Coyle. You know what? A year pro bono. You give your salary to Nico right now. He can put in his pockets and make it rain for
He
kids.
does make. I think Mark Coyle makes more money than the Gophers basketball NIL budget in total.
Okay.
Per
well,
year,
then you know what?
Does he make like 1.3 million or something, and the Gophers have $1 million?
Add it in. Educator, Mark Coyle. Who cares what you know what? Live in a hut for all I care. Just make it rain for the kids.
AJ messaged me this morning, says, hey, you might want to turn up Judd's mic level. He was a little low on JHS. I said, you know what? That's my bad, because yesterday he was screaming about NIL and Gophers, so I had to turn him down because he was just yelling about the Gophers for 15 minutes on a scoop session. So I said, that's my bad. I'll turn him back up.
Damn it, don't turn me down. Don't silence me.
All right, back to Dex.
All right, write this down. I think the Twins do take their first 2 series here, so I'll just say this, though, for simplicity, just in case something gets weird. They'll win 4 of their first 6. They'll win at least 4 of their first 6 games. So I guess that could be a sweep, and then losing 2 out of 3 to Chicago.
That's what I said, right? 2 weeks ago.
I think
I gave him
4 out of 6.
Yeah.
Well, I'm riding with Sports Dad.
It's very
plausible
with you
here.
Very plausible.
All right, write this down. Positive Phil coming back to talk some Timberwolves here.
Ooh, nice.
Someone hit us up on Twitter today and said, my favorite part of Flagrant Howls is when Positive Phil shows up and you can see the grimace and the disdain on Sports Dad's face having to deal with Positive Phil.
Yep.
But the Timberwolves, this might be a parlay actually, because right now they're in the play-in. So the Timberwolves will win a series this year, at least one. The Wolves will win at least one playoff series. Now, maybe they have to go on the road to the Clippers in a play-in to get there, and then they play the Rockets or whoever, but they will win at least one series.
Okay.
Write this down.
Write this down.
All right, Craig, your third and final prediction.
I'm gonna go with that. And we're gonna stick with the Wolves theme here again. This is from my kid Luke. He's a big Ant man, and I'm gonna one up Zach from last week's show. Ant will drop at least 50 points in either a play-in game or during one playoff game this upcoming playoff season.
Yeah, playoff Ant.
Yep.
I could use a little like Wednesday night against the Pelicans in March Ant once in a while, and he needs to show up more for those. Or like, it's like Monday night against the Pacers and they're missing all their starters Ant. But we know we get playoff Ant here in at least a few weeks.
Yeah.
So, Craig, awesome stuff here. Since you've got this life-changing platform, is there anyone you'd like to thank that helped you get to this point?
Obviously, my parents, especially my dad, got us into watching sports at an early age. The Vikings and the Twinkies. My wife, who puts up with my fandom, if you will. My kids, who are very much now into sports, and want to thank you guys for having this platform. If I can, a couple years ago, we were traveling to St. Cloud to celebrate our annual Christmas with my mom and my brothers. It was something my mom started years ago. We were listening to a certain game where they were playing a team from Indiana, and the road trip to St. Cloud was not going very well. We got there at halftime, and the score was not the way I wanted it to be, and I was less than jolly, let's say. And my kid Luke's like, "Dad, they're going on Ventline Live." And I think, Judd, you left the stadium.
I did, yeah.
We got to the hotel. We're watching the game a little bit, and we're listening to you guys. And he's like, they scored again. They scored again. And I could see Declan was kind of, his mood seemed to be changing. Like, oh, my God, is this happening?
Yeah.
So one of the greatest comebacks in NFL history was an opportunity to watch the game with my family, listen to you guys. It happened to be my last Christmas with my mom. She passed away a year ago. But we will always have that memory of the Colts comeback, listening to you guys on Ventline, and just that experience. It's something my kids will never forget.
That was wild, man. Yeah, Craig, no, thank you for the kind words. Nice. That was one of the most fun days in, for sure, Purple Daily history.
Except for me, I left the stadium.
The look on Judd's face as he watched on TV.
Greatest comeback, NFL history, and I was left the stadium. Bullied into it by my friends.
Craig, thank you, man. Thanks for the kind words, and let's do it again sometime.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
All right, guest listener predictor Craig from the great Duluth, Minnesota. So we'll get to our final predictions here in a moment, gentlemen. MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air. How can they help the fine listeners of this show?
I can tell you exactly because they came to my house on Saturday. So Friday night, the furnace starts to hem and haw, and I'm like, something's not right here. So I call them up. And I say, can you get here by tomorrow? And they say, absolutely. Joe shows up at my door. Joe goes downstairs. And I've told you this. I have no real idea what the problem was. Some board didn't work. I don't know. Something wasn't firing right. I don't care what the problem was. I care that the problem got fixed. And Joe did exactly that. He fixed it. He's a big fan of the show. We talked about the team. Everything was great. And guess what? I have a furnace now that's firing on all cylinders. I am extremely pleased. This is all about trust, folks, and this is having the right people in place to fix the problems that you need fixed. They don't come, they don't panic, they don't tell you your house is going to blow up. They tell you what needs to happen, and they get that done. MSP, absolutely outstanding. Give them a call, 651-615-4292, or check out their website, call msp.com. MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air. They take care of all those things, and they do an absolutely fantastic job. Again, the website, call msp.com, and find out why I trust them so much.
I trust Legit Pizza to deliver a fantastic, tasty meal, and so do the Goffs. The Mackies and the Goffs just loading up on Pep's Legit Pizza, that throwback style, those pizza parlor vibes, the stone-baked cracker-thin crust. You throw it in the pizza oven or a regular oven for like 15 minutes, and you enjoy your meal like a champion. You can find Legit Pizzas at a grocery store near you in the Twin Cities and have an authentic at-home pizza parlor experience. So I think we're on like a 7-week streak now of at least one, maybe two Legit Pizzas. Maybe it's a Thursday night thing this week. I don't know. Maybe it's a Get Crazy on Friday.
Mix it up.
Some Netflix and a Legit Pizza. We'll have to see. That's right. All right, kids.
Write this down.
Sports Dad, what's your final prediction?
My final prediction is this. Carlos Correa will be the Twins MVP this season. Carlos Correa will win it. I've decided that this is probably among the most important things. If he does not play, and keep in mind too, All-Star last year was playing extremely well. Plays a shortstop that's brilliant, okay? And it's not a coincidence that when the team started to fall apart, Correa, I think, was out. He comes back. It, at that point in time, was probably past the point of return. But Carlos Correa, for this team to win the division and or be in the playoffs, he has to perform. He has to play. And in my opinion, he probably has to play an entire season like he did the first half of 2024. So write that down. He will be the Twins MVP or else.
Okay.
Or else. Write that down too.
All right, Dex.
All right, write this down. By the way, what do you guys find more annoying? People talking about how bad or how great their brackets are going, or their fantasy football draft? Like, you know how people love to talk about those two things, especially. And especially they always, what happens, and I find this happening to me, is like you run into someone you haven't seen in forever, and they want to talk sports with you because they know we work in this business. And then they talk your ear off about their like RB2 situation or their Cinderella pick in the March Madness tournament. I feel like I still get a lot of these conversations.
I would say I don't need to hear about anyone's fantasy team or bracket period, but I respect the fantasy football discussion more because I know that like people put a ton of work into trying to win fantasy leagues. You're watching football every week. Like we're all super invested in football as a product, and so there's some pride there. No one has any idea what like McNeese State is about to do in the NCAA tournament. So if you happen to pick the 12-5 upset, you're only doing it because mathematically there's always a 12-5 upset. So it's all kind of like random, and I'd rather hear about your fantasy team than like the bracket you filled out watching 45 minutes of college basketball over the first 4 months of the regular season.
This is why you avoid people.
Yep.
Just avoid human contact.
That's right. So write this down. I have Tennessee winning my bracket, so I'll put Tennessee in the Final Four for write that down. So they have to win their next two games.
If you,
do you guys also see?
Why don't you have them winning the whole thing and write
have
that
them win the
down?
tournament?
I'll
Come
parlay.
on.
I'm going to make it next week when they're in the Final Four. I need completions here, okay? Need to step my
Oh,
way back
Christ
into.
almighty.
This is a 5-step plan.
You criticize me for
This is
pushing
a 5-step plan. Number 5, write that down.
You know
fix
what?
my batting average. Okay.
I hope Tennessee fails. I just hope now that they lose.
The write that down gods. I mean, I get it. Declan's batting 087 here, so he's looking for some hits.
Yeah, but I mean, come on.
Did you also see that Courtney Cronin, our former friend from SKOR North and now on ESPN Radio, has one of the best brackets in the country?
Yeah, she was like she had like
Undefeated.
20 for 20 in the first 20 games or something.
She's missed 2 picks so far.
The whole bracket.
The whole bracket,
That's crazy.
too.
I guess it shows you if you go chalk and then pick John Calipari as the only upset,
Well,
then you're
and now,
sitting pretty well.
yes, because the whole thing has changed. So
Yep. Okay, and then final prediction here from me. Write this down.
Write this down.
From some snail mail that I received from the Hockey Whisperer, who's vacationing now for 2 years in an undisclosed location.
he's dead.
I love it. Me too.
It's definitely not dead.
Okay.
Address redacted. But it's been about 22 years since we partied in Dinkytown this time of year. And I know the Gopher hockey team.
Make the
it's
prediction.
not the most dominant Gopher hockey team. They're not even a 1 seed.
No, make the
They've
prediction.
lost 10 games so far this year.
Do it. Red.
They are going to finally deliver the first national championship in over 20 years to Dinkytown, the Golden Gopher hockey team.
Turn over those couches. Light them on fire, kids.
Good.
Light
Make
those
it
couches on fire.
Give me the Gophs to make it happen for the first time in over 2 decades.
Oh, boy.
All right, we got to go because Craig Kilborn awaits on Flagrant House today. So check that out when you get some time, either Apple, Spotify, or the SKOR North YouTube channel. And we'll see you tomorrow for a little. So Judd's going to be our scoop monster tomorrow on Minnesota Sports, Mackie and Judd. Be great.